Okay, today we are going to create a new title block using Revit from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is open up a new project file using a construction template, or your own template if you have one created. This will open up a blank project file, and this will be useful for loading in our title block once we have it created to test if it functions and looks as it should. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to File, and we're going to open up we're going to go to New, and we're going to open up the title block family. Now you can also open up a template file, title block template file via the family command as well, but the title block command here should direct us to that file automatically, and there you go. So as you can see, there's a range of page sizes included standard by Revit. So you have A0 metric down to A4, and you also have an option to create a new or a custom sheet size under new size metric. I'm just going to go for A3 metric for the purposes of this demonstration, and we'll click open. Now this will open up a template file, and my recommendation is the first thing you should do once you open up a template file is save it as. So I'm going to save it as a family, and I'm going to call it BluBim title block A3. I'm just going to call, because there's another one there, I'm just going to call it revision 1. Okay. You'll see why this is important later on once we load it into our project. So I'm going to save that. And now, whenever we open up a template file, what I always do is I always check the dimensions just to make sure that no one's messed around with this, nobody's played around with it, and that it is indeed an A3 sheet. So 420 millimeters by 297, I know that is the correct size for an A3 sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock them dimensions. So click on the dimension and click on the little padlock icon, and do the same for the vertical dimension. Now that means no one can grab any of these lines either by accident or on purpose and move that line without unclicking the little padlock tool. Now the next thing we want to do in our title block is create a border. I always think a sheet looks better with a border with it. So we're going to go up to the Modify tab, and we're going to click the Offset. Now I know I want my border to be, let's say, 8 millimeters. So I'm going to click 8 up here at the top. And I'm going to make sure that my copy is ticked there also. So if you hover over a line either to the left or to the right, you'll see a blue dotted dashed line, and that indicates where the offsetted line will appear. So I want these all on the inside, so I will click on the inside. Now I'm going to use the Trim Extend tool to tidy up these loose ends quite quickly. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to use my aligned dimension to dimension these and lock them, because I don't really want these to be moved, and they should always be staying in the same place. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some of the project information here in our title block. So we're going to go up and use the Create tab up at the top and use the line command. Now as we hover down at the bottom line here, you'll see that Revit kind of goes up in increments, and I want mine to be about 50 mil. So I know that it's clicked on 50 mil there, and I'll just draw this line up quite randomly for now until we figure out how we want our title block to look. So I'm going to draw some horizontal lines. I'm going to draw these quite randomly to start off with, because I'm going to show you how to manipulate lines with your dimension tool. Now I know I want, let's say, 3 rows at the bottom. I'm going to probably place my logo up here, project title here, drawing title here, etc, etc. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up to in the Modify tab, go for the Align Dimension, and I'm going to do a Run Dimension basically on these bottom 3 first. Now I want these 3 to be all quite equal in height. So what I'm going to do, now that I've run dimension, this little EQ sign, I'm going to click on that, and that should automatically equalize all them lines. So very useful tool, and can quicken up the likes of grids and different walls that you want to be equal in width or height. So the next thing I'm going to do is manipulate the rest of the lines via the dimension tool. Okay, so how you move a line, you don't click on the dimension and try and modify that. You click on the item that you want to move, and then your dimension will show up in blue. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one 35 mil, and you see the line moves down. The next one I'm going to make the same, which is 35 millimeter, and the next one I will make maybe 25 millimeters. Okay. So that's fine. You can go ahead and lock all them dimensions as well so that they can't be moved. Now I'm going to put in some vertical lines as well. So go up to the Create tab, hit the Line tool, and I'm going to do a couple of lines there. And I think I'll just extend them up to the next row as well. I'm going to use my Align tool, and I'm going to equalize them all as well quite quickly. Click on them, equal, lock, lock, lock. Okay, simple. So for the title headings within the title block, we're just going to use simple text because that's never going to change. It doesn't need to pull any project information. It's always going to stay the same every project that you use. So there's two ways to access the text command. Three actually. You can use the short command TX. You can go up to the ribbon here under the Create tab, or there's a short command up at the very top. So click where you want your text, and my first heading is going to be project title. Okay, so the size of that text is way too big. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on the text, go to your properties tab to the left hand side and see if there's smaller text available. There's not to worry, we will go in and edit the type. So in the type properties box, what you want to do is you want to duplicate this text. If you want to keep the 8 mil, you might need it for something else. We're going to call this 1.5 millimeter. I think will be a decent size for this title block. I'm going to change the text size to 1.5. Now you can change different things within this, the background, the line weight, the color, and you can have a play around with this and see what looks best for your needs. So I'm going to hit apply, I'm going to hit OK, and you see that my project title is now a more appropriate size. So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to use the copy command up at the top, or CO for short, and we're just going to copy this down with the base point to a few of these. Now for these ones here, I'm going to click project title, I'm going to hit Control to select multiple items, and then I'm going to use the copy command again with the same base point and copy them over. You can see quite quickly we have that populated, albeit with the same heading. So what we're going to do now, double click into that, Control A for select all and delete, and we're going to call this one drawing title. Okay. Okay, so the next part of the video I'm going to speed up quickly as it's quite repetitive in nature, and you should all by now know how to change each of the items within the title block or the headings. What I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to hit the control button on my keyboard, make sure I've all selected. I think these are all a bit too high, and I'm going to use the up and across arrows on my keyboard just to move everything at once in increments, to have it sitting all up on the left hand side, which I think looks a bit better. Now what we're going to do is, because we don't want to be filling out information manually on every sheet or in every project in Revit, we are going to create a label. Now when you click the label command, you click anywhere in your title block and it opens up this edit label window. Now this will bring up a list of category parameters, and I suppose this is our first introduction to parameters. Now what parameters are, basically they're smart text, and they will pull various bits of information from a Revit model as text or description into your title block. So let's look what we have. We have project title. So let's see if there's anything that basically fits that. So project name, that's quite relevant to project title, and I'm going to bring it over with the little green arrow, and then I'm going to bring it in. Now it's in at a too large a text. Again, there's no text available here, so we're going to edit the type, and we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to put this as 2 millimeters, slightly bigger than the last one. Okay, again, same drill. Change your text size, hit apply, hit OK. So then our project is resized. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we pull in our little blue adjustment dots so that our text wraps within our title block. And what we'll do there, we'll use the copy command again, select the label and copy it down to the next one. We'll click the label and hit edit label. Now we don't want this as project name, so we'll take it out. We want this as drawing title. So we'll put this one in as sheet name. Okay, hit apply, hit OK. Okay, we're going to rinse and repeat. We're going to bring down the client name. Again, we're going to edit the label. We're going to take that away, and we are going to go to client name, which Revit has here. Okay, so you get the general idea. We'll just quickly do the rest of these. Note how I'm changing some of the sample values within each labels, just so it fits nice and neat within the title block and looks more professional once complete. Now our title block's starting to look a bit more professional looking. So we're going to insert our logo. So I'm going to go up to the insert tab and I'm going to import an image. I'm going to pick our BluBim logo and just place it anywhere. Okay, so it's massive, too big. So again, we'll use the drag toggles at either side of the image and drag it into a size that you feel suits best. Okay, so we're going to now load our title block into our project file, which we previously opened. Two options to do this: you can just load into project or load into project and close. Always a good idea until you're happy with your title block and you don't need to make any more modifications. Just load into project and we can easily switch back via the tab should we need to make any further modifications. So we're going to load it into the project. And you'll see this warning comes up at the bottom right hand side. That's quite normal as we are in a floor plan view and you can't add a title block to anything other than a sheet. So that's fine. It's always a good idea to keep an eye on the warnings that pop up. If you don't do this, you'll not understand what Revit doesn't like, or maybe an error within the drawing that doesn't affect you now but may affect you later on. There will be some warnings that you choose to ignore, and that's fine, but you should at least be aware of them. So we're going to go down to the left hand side under the project browser and click on the sheet that is already created within this project, and there's a standard Autodesk title block. So to change this to our BluBim title block, we're going to click on the title block and go to the properties bar to the left hand side, and you should see our BluBim title block A3 revision 1 in there. Now note, whenever I said at the very start, it's a good idea to rename your template file as a family, or save it as a family and under a name that you will understand. And this is the reason: if you have 2 or 3 title blocks created of different sizes, it'll be very difficult to differentiate between the title blocks unless you change the name to something easily recognizable. So once we click on this via the properties bar, the Autodesk title block automatically converts to our BluBim one, which is good. So we're going to do a couple of things just to test, is our title block functioning the way we want to function. So we're going to call the project title, we're going to call it title block test. We're going to call our drawn title BluBim 01. We're going to call our client 2 blocks, and we're going to rename our drawing number in a different format. Let's call it General Arrangement Drawing 01. And we will name our project number, Control A, delete 1111 dash the year 23. Okay, so that's fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a new sheet. Okay, and whenever you create a new sheet, it will prompt you which title block you want to use. I want to use not the A1 standard metric Autodesk one, I want to use the one we have just created. So I click OK. Now what you will find is that our title block is functioning as it should, because the drawing number has incremented up by 1 in our chosen format. Revit is quite intelligent in this respect, and the project number has stayed the same, which we want to stay the same. The client name has stayed the same, which we want to stay the same, and so is the project title. Drawing title has remained unnamed, which is also correct, as on every different sheet you will have a different drawing: site location plan, general arrangement floor plans, sections, details, elevations, etc., etc. So this all seems to be functioning the way we're going to function. Now we're going to bring in just a blank floor plan just to see, is our scale functionality working the way we want it to work. So this level not plan, the view scale is sitting at 1 to 100. So how we move a floor plan into a sheet is we just drag and drop. So I'm going to move it into this General Arrangement Drawing 01, and I'm just going to place it anywhere on the sheet for now. Okay, I'm now going down to our title block, and our scale has automatically populated. So this is a title block that now works and now functions as we want it to function.